So then Wolves have received yet again another defeat at Molineux this evening. Wolves have lost out 2-1 to Everton. My name is Dave from Talking Wolves. Going to be giving my thoughts on the game, folks. As always, let me know your thoughts on this evening's performance in the comment section down below. Pretty disappointing one, to be honest. As you guys probably will know, just a very boring game overall. And clear to see Wolves are lacking depth and really missing some of the players that are currently out injured at the moment. Starting lineup was Rui Patricio in goal. We kept with that back four, which saw Aït-Nouri, Saïss, Cody and Semedo. Midfield three again of Dendoncker, Neves and Moutinho, with Neto and Morgan Gibbs-White with Fabio Silva classed as the forwards today. So obviously, Adama Traoré seems like he had a little knock after that game against Palace. Hopefully that works in our favour. We've kept him fresh, hopefully, for that game against West Brom on Saturday. But yeah, today wasn't good enough, to be honest. Started off really poorly, which you can't afford to be giving teams head starts, as we did against Everton last season, I think, at Goodison Park. Just an easy goal, poor defending, really. That switched ball across the face goal. Digne with a nice ball across, and Iwobi, to be fair to him, finishes it. Good technique, good finish. Cody probably should do a little bit better with the block, but no chance for Patricio, really, with the power and the almost precision that Iwobi put on that, really. And it was vital, really, for Wolves to get themselves back in the game immediately, and we did that quite quickly after. From a corner, comes deep for Aït-Nouri, lovely touch and great ball at some pace across the face of goal. So Ruben Neves at the end of it as well. First goal from open play inside the box for Wolves. He scored a few inside the box, obviously, from the penalty spot. But yeah, nice to see him in there and grabbing another goal. And going into half-time at 1-1, I felt, you know what, we still got an opportunity and a chance in this game. Overall, in the first half, we looked okay. I quite like the press in the midfield. As soon as Everton were getting the ball at times, we were pressing really hard, putting the pressure on them to win the ball back. The only other really half chance we had was Fabio Silva. The ball was sort of behind him. Didn't really get much power on it, but made Pickford think about it just inside the box. But just individually, you know, Morgan looked okay, trying to get himself about a little bit. Obviously knew he had something to prove. But it wasn't really the final ball there for Wolves. We looked okay, controlled possession, but yeah, nothing really there to link that midfield to the attack. Second half of the game was very, very slow and not much in it, was there? A very slow second half where both teams just trying to suss each other out. And similarly to the first half, really, just no final ball. Both teams, it was like a midfield battle, really, one into the other. We saw a couple of sloppy touches, sloppy passes from both sides. A little bit frustrating from Wolves' point of view because it's just basic first touches or basic passes, really. And we're making a hard job out of them, which is frustrating to watch. But in the end, as you know, Everton got that killer blow for us. Great ball in from Andre Gomez and a header from Michael Keane. Again, Wolves defensively beaten, aerially as well. Just not good enough today. And we never looked like scoring in that second half whatsoever, to be honest. It's just clear to see, especially with that lineup today with Adama out injured, Wolves just have zero firepower outside of Raul Jimenez. Yeah, okay, we've had an unfortunate amount of injuries, but you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared for that. Today, I believe on the bench we had 4 players who I would class as first teamers. The rest were obviously youngsters again. Again, yes, we've got injuries, but you have to expect that as a football team. We've got Johnny, who you knew was going to be out injured anyway. Marcel, who we signed, and obviously, unfortunately, looks like he's going to be one that's going to get injuries quite often, maybe due to his age, a little bit more fragile now. Outside of the Pedence and Adama, you know, you got one winger left. We were playing it quite dangerously with 3 wingers anyway, and that today, the system that we played first half was strange, really. I don't think you're going to score many goals from open play with the system we were playing. Almost Fabio Silva, who I loved his work rate, by the way, today, but as a striker, as a man you're going to be relying on for goals, it's not quite there for the young man yet. His work rate up and down the pitch was great, but using him as a left winger, Neto on the right wing, and Morgan throughout the middle as like a false 9, you're just not going to score goals with that system, full stop. And no surprise our goal came from a set piece. We never threatened unless it was from a set piece. I think Neves came close and hit the outside of the woodwork. But that I know some journalists are saying that Wolves business is, it looks like there's not going to be any business in January. From a business side of things, I sort of get it, but from a okay, we need to try and achieve something inside this season, we're not going to with that team at the moment. To rely on Patrick Cutrone and Fabio Silva to replace the goals that Raul Jimenez would provide is impossible. You would need to spend big money on that. So unless we're going to wait till quite late in the window, which I don't believe would go throughout a full transfer window without signing anyone. I think there's obvious areas to move to, and comments Nuno is making, I think, insinuates that. But I think it might be, especially the striker situation, that might be a late one in the window. But winger has got to be addressed for me today. If you have a proper winger there that you've got as an option, outside of Neto, I think we'd threaten a lot more today, and we just didn't do that enough. It was just almost as if, and it happened a lot, whenever the ball was either out wide, a lot, at times there wasn't a man from the midfield supporting, or whether we had the ball in the middle, there was no one sort of in between the midfield and the attack to link a move together. It was difficult for us to provide and produce any attacking movement. And if you've got that and you're pairing with some fairly shoddy defending, because let's face it, we haven't got fantastic defenders. We've got an okay back four, but as defenders, people that can defend, they're not fantastic. That's going to ring alarm bells for Wolves, really. We saw a little bit of, when you bring on Keanu Hoover, who, he's not, it's not his fault. He's not a bad player at all. But when you're bringing Keanu Hoover on as a winger, and that lad's a centre back or right back, it's just not his position. It's not going to work. So for Wolves at the moment, it's very very up in the air. It's very frustrating. And I tell you now, that game against West Bromwich Albion is absolutely huge on Saturday. Wolves have got to win that game. Let's ignore that FA Cup result. Look at our run in the league. It's been abysmal over the last number of weeks now. And we're quite fortunate that we've picked a couple of wins out over the last couple of weeks, over the last month or so. In games, really, we probably weren't expected to win. And, we're lucky that there's 4 or 5 teams at the moment that are much worse than Wolves. We have to up our game significantly. And if we don't beat West Brom on Saturday, a lot of fans, it is going to be toxic for the next week or so. Everywhere on social media, it is going to be toxic. And Nuno is going to have serious questions to answer to a number of fans if we don't get anything against West Brom. That result today, there are a small amount of positives, but it's just too flat. There's not enough urgency. There's not enough firepower in that team. I've screamed it from the rooftops for the last couple of weeks. You got Theo Corbiano on the bench, who did okay for the under-23s before Christmas. Quick, tall, powerful player, naturally an attacker, and we're bringing on Keanu Hoover, who's a defender on the wing. Why is Nuno saying, let's trust the youth, let's play the youth, and he's bringing on a defender in an attacking position at 1-1? If we're wanting to win the game, talk the talk. Let's give these young lads a chance. Give someone who is an attacker, bring him on in his preferred role and see what he can do. Otherwise, if you don't want to play him, bring in an attacker. Say to Jeff Shee, say to the board, look, we need to improve if you want us to finish in an okay position this season, because it ain't going to happen otherwise. But Everton have got the better of Wolves today. 2-1 at Molineux. Disappointing performance. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the like button as well and subscribe to the channel. And to finish off, a big shout out to Jake. I know he tweeted me a couple of days ago. He's struggling a little bit personally, and he says he loves the video, so I thought I'd give him a shout after a disappointing result. Hopefully that cheered you up a little bit. But guys, enjoy the rest of your week, and fingers crossed we'll be back for the pre-game West Brom content and see Wolves grab 3 points. I'll see you all very, very soon.